The discovery of the antidote was a moment of triumph for everyone in the safe zone. However, we had very little time to savor this victory. The leaders of the Salvation Alliance had to expedite the plan to distribute the antidote worldwide, as time was our greatest enemy. Mia, Lucas, and I were part of the team, tasked with the first shipment of the antidote. Our mission was to deliver the antidote to surviving communities in different parts of the world. But this was a far more challenging task than we had imagined. The disease had spread to every corner of the world, and zombies had invaded the once thriving heart of civilization, the cities. Our first target was what used to be the great metropolis, but had now turned into a ghost town, New York. The city was not only overrun by zombies, but had also been occupied by lawless groups who had survived the disease but lost their humanity. These groups saw any atrocity permissible in their struggle for survival. As we approached New York, we could see smoke rising among the skyscrapers. The city was dark and silent, but this silence was deceptive. At any moment, an attack could come from anywhere. Our helicopter landed in an area near Central Park. We quickly secured the perimeter. As we unloaded the crates carrying the antidote, we were vigilant, watching every move. Every sound was an alarm. However, we encountered an unexpected challenge. A group of thugs, having gotten wind of the antidote, had laid an ambush for us. Suddenly we found ourselves in the midst of intense gunfire erupting around us. Lucas immediately established a defensive line. Mia and I remained within the perimeter to protect the antidote. Amidst bullets flying around us, we realized the overwhelming number of the thugs. This battle couldn't be won by arms alone. Mia swiftly devised a plan. "We need to use the antidote," she said. "If we can offer it to them, perhaps they might prefer to listen instead of fighting." The plan was risky, but we had no other choice. We raised a white flag to propose a truce. The leader of the thugs approached cautiously. We showed him the antidote and explained it was a chance to end this war. The thug leader accepted the antidote and the hope it promised. This was not just the end of a battle, but potentially the savior of many lives. After this initial success in New York, our mission to distribute the antidote worldwide continued. Each region harbored its own challenges and dangers, but every successful delivery ignited a ray of hope in the shadow of the apocalypse. Following the distribution in New York, we set out to reach other parts of the world. Each delivery was a victory for humanity, but every triumph brought forth new challenges. The next stop for the distribution of the antidote was the hot savannas of Africa. Here, scattered tribes and communities fought to survive in the wake of the disease. Yet among these groups, some had developed a natural resistance to the disease. Their genetic makeup could play a critical role in enhancing the effectiveness of the antidote. Lucas, Mia, and I were tasked with a research team to locate these resistant individuals and collect samples from them. But this mission was fraught with unexpected challenges. While the wildlife remained unaffected by the disease, in a world filled with zombies and humans willing to do anything to survive, every step was a potential danger. One day, we encountered a tribe. They had remained untouched by the disease and had managed to preserve their community. However, they were wary of anyone from the outside world. Gaining their trust wouldn't be easy. Through Mia's scientific knowledge and communication skills, we managed to establish a dialogue with the tribal leader. We explained the importance of the antidote and what it meant for the world. Gradually, we succeeded in gaining their support. The tribe shared with us the secret of their resistance. This information became a new turning point in the development of the antidote. The scientists of the Salvation Alliance could further enhance the antidote's efficacy with this new knowledge. However, every step forward brought new challenges. As the effectiveness of the antidote increased, powers seeking to control it began to emerge. Some surviving groups sought to exploit the antidote for their own interests, even considering it as a weapon. This new threat was an unexpected test for the Salvation Alliance. Protecting and fairly distributing the antidote became increasingly challenging. Our task was not only to distribute the antidote, but also to ensure its fair and equal usage for everyone. Lucas, Mia, and I were at the forefront of this new mission. We fought to protect the antidote and ensure the rebirth of humanity. Each day we contributed to nurturing hope in this post-apocalyptic world. Leaving the hot lands of Africa, we continued to carry the light of the antidote to the other dark corners of the world. Each new place had its own world, story, and pains. The power of the antidote had become humanity's hope, but safeguarding and spreading this hope became increasingly intricate by the day. When we reached the densely populated cities of Asia, the scene we encountered was a testament to the brutality of the apocalypse. The cities had been abandoned and devastated. Streets had turned into battlefields for zombies and surviving humans. Distributing the antidote here required a strategic war plan. Guided by Lucas's military experience, we navigated through zombie herds while attempting to reach surviving communities. Each delivery became more dangerous and urgent than the last. One night, we encountered a group of survivors who had established a shelter in the underground tunnels of the city. These people had created their small community away from the chaos on the surface. However, their need for the antidote surpassed the dangers they faced above ground. Mia's scientific expertise and her belief in people instilled hope within this community. When we delivered the antidote to them, their initial skepticism and fear transformed into gratitude and hope. It was an unforgettable moment for us, a testament to humanity's resilience and the possibility of hope prevailing. However, the power of the antidote not only healed the survivors, but also became the source of new conflicts. Groups seeking to acquire the antidote resorted to all means to expand their dominance. This compelled the Salvation Alliance to develop a new strategy. As guardians of the antidote, we had to confront these new threats. Ensuring fair distribution and utilization of the antidote for humanity had become the most crucial part of our mission. As days and weeks passed, the world began to show signs of healing through the antidote's effects. People who survived the disease started rebuilding their shattered cities and communities. In this process, we were transforming. Every success and every failure made us stronger. Lucas, Mia, and I were not just survivors anymore. We had become integral figures in the reconstruction of this new world. As the antidote reached every corner of the world, we bore witness to the rebirth of humanity. And thus, our journey of hope, born in the shadow of the apocalypse, continued on the path leading to the rebirth of humanity. When our mission in the crowded cities of Asia was completed, the effect of the antidote was becoming increasingly prominent worldwide. People had freed themselves from the grip of the disease and began reconstructing their communities and lives. Yet this new beginning was built upon the ruins of the old world, and each new structure carried the shadows of the past. The rainforests of South America were the next destination for the antidote's distribution. Here, the power of nature had acted as a shield against the zombie invasion, allowing some indigenous communities to survive in isolation. However, this isolation had severed their ties with the world, keeping them unaware of the existence of the antidote. Our task was to reach these communities and offer them the antidote. But this time, the challenges we faced were not only human or zombie-related. Nature itself was an obstacle. The dense rainforests posed dangers at every step. Poisonous plants, predatory animals, and deceptive terrains tested us at every turn. Under Lucas's leadership, and with the guidance of a local guide, we set forth on a journey to the heart of the forest. Each of us knew that this journey was not merely a physical trial, but also a spiritual one. The forest reminded us of human vulnerability in the face of nature and the strength of the survival instinct. After a challenging journey lasting several days, we reached a native community. Living far from the modern world, they were dedicated to the traditions of their ancestors. Gaining their trust was crucial for them to accept the antidote. Mia, utilizing her scientific knowledge and empathy, initiated contact with the community's shaman. She explained what the antidote was, how it worked, and how it could safeguard their community. The shaman understood the antidote and our intentions, eventually accepting it. It marked a triumph of cross-cultural understanding and collaboration. As we offered the antidote to the community, their doubts and fears gave way to hope. Witnessing people beginning to heal made all our challenges feel worthwhile. However, with the global spread of the antidote, a new issue arose. Its distribution began to shift power dynamics in certain regions. Some groups started to wield the antidote as a symbol of power, even viewing it as a political tool. This divergence risked deviating the antidote from its purpose and potentially sparking new conflicts. The Salvation Union began developing new protocols to oversee the distribution of the antidote and ensure its fair use. We continued our efforts to implement these protocols in the field. As we departed from the rainforests of South America, the ripples created by the global dissemination of the antidote were increasingly growing. Each wave was both a herald of healing and new conflicts. As the antidote's potency continued to alter humanity's fate, our journey entered a new phase. The historical cities of Europe were our next destination. Here, once thriving societies and advanced technology had succumbed to ruin and silence. Disease had gripped the continent, transforming once lively streets into ghostly cities. Lucas, Mia, and I devised a new strategy to reach surviving groups scattered across different regions of Europe. While these groups had formed resilient communities, isolation and fear had disconnected them from the outside world. One of our first stops was Paris, once the heart of art and culture. The city, now desolate, bore the traces of apocalypse upon its renowned art and monuments. Here, in the underground shelters beneath the Louvre Museum, we found a group of survivors. They had become custodians of art and history, striving to preserve these works for future generations. Mia's scientific expertise and love for art facilitated an immediate connection with this group. Offering them the antidote resulted in a transformation from skepticism to hope. Preserving art would play a significant role in humanity's rebirth. Yet, the antidote's potency revived certain old power structures. Some former governments and organizations sought to reassert control using the antidote. This became one of the greatest challenges confronting the Salvation Union. While we struggled to ensure the fair and equitable distribution of the antidote, we also had to contend with the threats posed by these re-emerging power structures. Lucas's leadership and strategic acumen were instrumental in standing against these new threats. With days passing, the impact of the antidote began to be felt across Europe. People who had survived disease began rebuilding their shattered cities and re-establishing their communities. In this process, we too evolved. Each success and setback further strengthened us. As hope sprouted in the rejuvenated cities of Europe, our next leg took us to one of the world's coldest regions, Siberia. Here, people struggled not only against the zombie threat, but also the freezing cold and isolation. Delivering the antidote to these remote lands would alleviate the challenges faced by the survivors, offering them a chance at a new life. Clad in cold-resistant attire, Lucas, Mia, and I traversed the frozen expanses using sleds and snowmobiles. In the vast plains of Siberia, we found small surviving communities scattered across old mining towns and abandoned research stations. These people grappled with the hardships of solitude and constant threats. When we delivered the antidote, a ray of hope illuminated their cold faces. Witnessing the change in their eyes made every second of this arduous journey worthwhile. Yet, Siberia's harsh conditions made the distribution of the antidote challenging. Frozen terrain and biting winds obstructed every move, turning each step into a struggle. Lucas's military experience and Mia's scientific acumen were crucial in surmounting these obstacles. At one point, amid the remnants of an old military base, we encountered a group of survivors using heavy weaponry to defend against zombies. Unaware of the existence of the antidote, they waged their own battles. When we informed them about the antidote and the events elsewhere, they gradually lowered their arms and began collaborating with us. Upon completing our mission in Siberia, the effects of the antidote were clearly visible worldwide. People freed from disease and the zombie threat were ready to make a fresh start. However, this new world had to be carefully constructed to avoid repeating the mistakes of the old world. The efforts of the Salvation Union, in collaboration with communities worldwide, were laying the groundwork for a new civilization. We had assumed significant roles in constructing this new world. Lucas, Mia, and I were no longer just survivors. We were also architects of this new world. Thus, our journey of hope, born amidst the shadow of apocalypse, continued, overcoming every challenge, nurturing every hope on the path to humanity's rebirth. The new world emerged from the ashes of the old, and we were etched into history as witnesses and creators of this new beginning. As the freezing winds of Siberia receded, the pace of changes wrought by the global spread of the antidote accelerated worldwide. Humanity transitioned from the struggle for survival after the apocalypse to the rebuilding and establishment of a new society. In this new phase, our roles evolved. We were no longer mere distributors, but also advisors and guides. When we arrived in the vast plains and great cities of North America, the scene was different from other continents. Survivors had swiftly organized and established a robust communication network among themselves, yet this organization was at risk of repeating the mistakes of the old world. Lucas, Mia, and I met with the leaders of these new communities. We shared our experiences with other global communities and the lessons we learned about distributing the antidote. Through collaboration, we attempted to ensure the fair and effective use of the antidote. While the zombie threat lessened in this new world, we observed people trying to revert to their old ways of life. Cities were being rebuilt, agriculture and industry were reviving. However, this reconstruction also bore the risk of bringing back the injustices and inequalities of the old world. Mia's scientific background and deep dedication to people aided the sustainable and fair development of these new communities. She articulated how technology and science should serve humanity. Lucas, with his expertise in ensuring security and order, led the reformed military and police forces, becoming the guardians of the new order. Throughout this process, we underwent change. What began as a journey of mere survival had turned us into leaders shaping the future of humanity. Upon completion of our mission in North America, stronger connections and collaboration between communities worldwide had emerged. The global reach of the antidote had marked the end of one of the darkest periods in human history, and the doors to a new era had opened. And so our journey of hope, born amidst the shadow of apocalypse, continued, overcoming every challenge, nurturing every hope on the path to humanity's rebirth. The new world emerged from the ashes of the old, and we were etched into history as witnesses and creators of this new beginning. Humanity had once again proven that hope persists even in the darkest times. As the first sprouts of the new world order appeared, our story had reached a turning point. After our contributions to the reconstruction in North America, the strengthened bonds between global communities had transitioned from merely surviving to supporting each other and growing together. However, the tests of this new solidarity were far from over. Africa was our next destination. Here, diverse climates and geographies had led surviving communities to face different challenges. From the hot sands of the Sahara Desert to the tropical forests of Madagascar, the distribution of the antidote posed yet another test for us. Leading Salvation Union teams dispersed across various corners of Africa, Lucas, Mia, and I faced the arduous task of ensuring the antidote reached every corner. Handling the necessary logistics and coordination for the antidote's reach was no easy feat, yet overcoming each challenge had become a way of life for us. A significant challenge we encountered in Africa was the limited water resources, complicating the distribution of the antidote. Mia's scientific knowledge played a vital role in establishing crucial water purification and distribution systems. Lucas's experience in ensuring security and order protected us against threats we encountered. Meeting surviving communities across different regions of Africa, we were deeply moved by their cultural richness and resilience. They stood as living proof of human strength in the face of adversity, showcasing remarkable resilience. Working with these communities, we learned much from them. Their traditional knowledge and ability to live in harmony with nature held a crucial place in shaping the New World Order. Preserving and transferring this wisdom became a priority during the antidote's distribution. Upon the completion of our mission in Africa, the impact of the antidote was felt across every corner of the continent. People liberated from disease and the zombie threat had begun tilling their lands and rebuilding their communities. Yet this fresh start had to be carefully managed to avoid repeating the errors of the old world. As we left behind the dusty roads and budding hopes of Africa, the connections among global communities had moved beyond mere survival struggles to supporting each other and collaborating for growth. The efforts of the Salvation Union had reunited the once fragmented human family. But the tests of this new unity were far from over. The continent of Asia was our next target. Here, surviving communities had formed strong fortresses within the shadows of high mountains and across vast plains. However, within the confines of these fortresses, some dark remnants of the old world order lingered. Lucas, Mia, and I were guiding Salvation Union teams scattered across various regions of Asia. Ensuring the reach of the antidote to every corner was always our mission, but this time the challenges we faced were not just physical, but also contained ideological and cultural barriers. In some regions, remnants of old regimes aimed to preserve their power and use the antidote for their own interests. This situation highlighted the strategic leadership of Lucas and the diplomatic skills of Mia. They made efforts to persuade these old power structures and instill the principles of justice and equality of the New World Order. In the vast steppes of Asia, we encountered nomadic communities sustaining traditional ways of life. They were relatively less affected by the collapse of the modern world and had survived using their traditional knowledge. While embracing the hope brought by the antidote, these communities also preserved their cultural heritage. During this process, we underwent a significant transformation. The struggle for survival had turned us into leaders shaping the future of humanity. We were now responsible for laying the foundations of the New World Order and planning humanity's next steps. When our mission in Asia was completed, the influence of the antidote was felt in every corner of the continent. People liberated from disease and the zombie threat had begun cultivating their lands and rebuilding their communities. However, this new beginning had to be carefully managed to avoid repeating the mistakes of the old world. After witnessing the various facets of Asia and becoming beacons of hope for the communities there, the connections between global communities had evolved beyond mere survival struggles to supporting and collaborating for collective growth. Yet, the tests of this new unity were not yet over. Humanity had to confront internal divisions. South America was our next target. Here, across the peaks of the Andes Mountains to the deep forests of the Amazon, surviving communities had established strong fortresses within their confines. However, within these fortresses, some dark remnants of the old world order were hidden. Lucas, Mia, and I were guiding Salvation Union teams scattered across various regions of South America. Ensuring the reach of the antidote to every corner was always our mission, but this time the challenges we faced were not just physical, but also contained ideological and cultural barriers. In some regions, remnants of old regimes aimed to preserve their power and use the antidote for their own interests. This situation highlighted the strategic leadership of Lucas and the diplomatic skills of Mia. They made efforts to persuade these old power structures and instill the principles of justice and equality of the New World Order. In the depths of the Amazon, we encountered communities where the power of nature still prevailed. They were relatively less affected by the collapse of the modern world and had survived using their traditional knowledge. While embracing the hope brought by the antidote, these communities also preserved their cultural heritage. During this process, we underwent a significant transformation. The struggle for survival had turned us into leaders shaping the future of humanity. We were now responsible for laying the foundations of the New World Order and planning humanity's next steps. When our mission in South America was completed, the influence of the antidote was felt in every corner of the continent. People liberated from disease and the zombie threat had begun cultivating their lands and rebuilding their communities. However, this new beginning had to be carefully managed to avoid repeating the mistakes of the old world. The sounds of hope echoing beneath the green cover of South America marked a turning point for us. As the Salvation Union, the connections we established between communities worldwide had evolved beyond mere survival struggles to supporting and collaborating for collective growth. Yet, the tests of this new unity were not over. Humanity had to face internal divisions. Antarctica was our next and most unexpected target. Here we discovered a community of scientists who had managed to survive isolated from the rest of the world, hidden beneath the ice. They had continued their crucial research initiated before the apocalypse and made promising new discoveries for the future of humanity. Lucas, Mia, and I made a challenging journey to reach this isolated community. We navigated through the ice, confronting the coldest winds to bring the antidote to this last frontier. However, the challenges we encountered here were not limited to physical obstacles. The scientists in Antarctica had established their own community and redefined the role of science in the post-apocalyptic world. They viewed the distribution of the antidote as just the beginning and were working on scientific advancements necessary for humanity to build a sustainable future. Mia showed great interest in the scientists' research and exchanged information with them to develop projects beneficial to communities worldwide. Lucas developed strategies to ensure the security of this new and isolated community and establish their connection with the outside world. Our mission in Antarctica laid the groundwork for the steps humanity would take in the fields of science and technology. Solutions were developed for the new challenges the post-apocalyptic world might face, and these solutions were conveyed to communities worldwide. Upon completion of our mission, the community of scientists in Antarctica had started collaborating with other communities worldwide. Humanity, liberated from disease and the zombie threat, began cultivating their lands and rebuilding their communities using science and technology. As the icy winds of Antarctica melted behind us, the connections that the Salvation Union had established with communities worldwide were opening a new chapter in humanity's reconstruction. Yet, the trials of this new beginning were not over. Humanity had to confront internal divisions and external threats. Our next target was hidden in the depths of the oceans. Here we discovered communities that had managed to survive in underwater cities, isolated from the rest of the world. They had sought refuge in the depths of the seas before the apocalypse, creating a new life using the underwater ecosystems. Lucas, Mia, and I embarked on a dangerous journey in submarines to reach these isolated communities. In the dark waters of the ocean, amidst the shadows of deep-sea creatures, we brought the antidote to this last frontier. However, the challenges we faced here were not limited to physical obstacles. The inhabitants of the underwater cities had formed their own communities and redefined the role of oceans in the post-apocalyptic world. They saw the distribution of the antidote as just a beginning and were working on managing ocean resources necessary for humanity to build a sustainable future. Mia exchanged knowledge about marine biology and the preservation of ecosystems with these communities to develop projects beneficial to communities worldwide. Lucas developed strategies to ensure the security of this new and isolated community and establish their connection with the outside world. Our mission in the underwater cities laid the groundwork for humanity to utilize and preserve ocean resources, creating a sustainable life in these regions. Solutions were developed for the new challenges the post-apocalyptic world might face, and these solutions were conveyed to communities worldwide. Upon the completion of our mission, the inhabitants of the underwater cities began collaborating with other communities worldwide. Humanity, liberated from disease and the zombie threat, began cultivating their lands and rebuilding their communities using the depths of the oceans. As we emerged from the hidden worlds beneath the oceans, we were met with news from all over the world. The Salvation Union had opened a new chapter in humanity's reconstruction, yet the trials of this new beginning were not over. Humanity was striving to build a future in harmony with nature's unique balances. The North Pole was our next and most challenging target. Here, amid melting glaciers, we discovered small but resilient communities that had managed to survive isolated from the rest of the world. They had adapted to the harsh living conditions in the polar regions before the apocalypse, and kindled a warm flame of hope in the midst of the cold. Lucas, Mia, and I made a challenging journey through snow-covered terrain to reach these isolated communities. In the cold of the polar winds, amidst polar bears and snowstorms, we brought the antidote to this last frontier. However, the challenges we faced here were not limited to physical obstacles. The polar communities had developed their own survival techniques and redefined the role of polar regions in the post-apocalyptic world. They considered the distribution of the antidote as just a beginning and shared knowledge necessary for humanity to live sustainably in cold climates. Mia exchanged knowledge about polar ecology and sustainable living techniques with these communities to develop projects beneficial to communities worldwide. Lucas developed strategies to ensure the security of this new and isolated community and establish their connection with the outside world. Our mission in the North Pole laid the groundwork for humanity to live and preserve these regions and build a life in harmony with nature. Solutions were developed for the new challenges the post-apocalyptic world might face, and these solutions were conveyed to communities worldwide. Upon completion of our mission, the polar communities started collaborating with other communities worldwide. Humanity, liberated from disease and the zombie threat, began to build a new life in the cold of the poles and to rebuild their communities. In the freezing cold of the North Pole, feeling the warmth of hope, we, Lucas, Mia, and I, witnessed the rebirth of humanity. As leaders of the Salvation Union, we brought together communities that had survived worldwide and provided them with the antidote. Each community contributed its unique knowledge to the collective memory of humanity, laying the foundations for a new civilization. On this journey full of challenges and threats, humanity rediscovered itself and started building a future in harmony with nature's balances. The threat of zombies and the fear of the hell plague were now left behind. The new world was emerging from the ashes of the old world, wiser and more resilient. Lucas was remembered as a leader who united communities with his strategic intelligence. Mia, with her knowledge and diplomatic abilities, built bridges between different cultures, and I remained as the storyteller of this tale, a memory keeper for future generations. Together we became symbols of hope and solidarity in the post-apocalyptic world. Years passed and the world slowly regained its former greenery. Cities were rebuilt in harmony with the requirements of nature. Communities began learning from each other's knowledge and experiences, moving towards a sustainable life. Technology developed in harmony with nature, serving humanity. And finally, one day, all the communities worldwide came together to celebrate the birth of a new civilization, It was not just a celebration, but also a ceremony of oath. Humanity pledged not to repeat the mistakes of the past, and to protect this new world. Our journey of hope, which began in the shadow of the apocalypse, ended by overcoming every difficulty and nurturing every hope on the path to humanity's rebirth. The new world was born from the ashes of the old, and we, as witnesses and creators of this new beginning, were etched into history. Humanity showed once again that hope persists even in the darkest times. And now, in this new world, each of us continues to write our own story. Hope can thrive even in the shadow of the apocalypse, and humanity can be reborn even in the most challenging times.